Hi everyone, we are live now with the one and only Mark Schaefer in the room with us, joining us live. My name is I'm the host of this weekly show, Classroom Without Walls, using technology to reimagine education. I'm having some internet connection issues right now, so I hope you can hear me clearly. My face is probably frozen. So I really apologize. I have no idea what happened. And, technology, we love it when technology works. And, hi, Shwo. Thank you so much for being here. I created this show because I believe our society has changed a lot. As educators, we need to change how we teach and how we interact with our students. On this show, I interview leading professionals and educators like Mark Schaefer, and to discuss issues related to social media, technology, education, and change. If you are new to the show, thank you so much for being here, Shwal, Natasha. I'm happy you can hear me, and sorry, my face is frozen. And if you are a returning attendee to the show, you know how much your support means to me. And if you are watching this show on replay, thank you so much for checking us out, future people. Today, I'm so honored to have Mark Schaefer join me as my guest of honor to discuss social media marketing, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Mark is a globally recognized speaker and author of 6 best-selling books. Mark is also a business owner and a consultant. He blogs regularly at Grow, and I will put the link to his blog in the comment section. And Grow is in the top 1% of blogs in the entire world. In addition, Mark is among the top 10 most retweeted marketing authorities in the entire world. So with that, I'm beyond honored to have Mark join us live on the show. And please excuse me if I sound too excited because I have been a fan of Mark for many years. And this is such a surreal moment for me. So Mark, welcome to the show. And I apologize again that my face is frozen and for the internet connection issue.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the nice introduction. I said, I think you're in Korea and I'm in Tennessee in America. It's a miracle we can even see each other. So I think it's amazing. I can hear you fine. And hopefully maybe we'll get some questions from people around the world too. And we can have a nice discussion. And but every time it freezes, it's frozen with a smile. So it's awesome because you're like one of the happiest people on the internet. My challenge, you need to get a little meaner. I think. You need to get a little more tiger-like. I think in your approach. You're just so nice. Drives me crazy.
Oh, thank you so much. You're so kind. I was so kind of stressing out. I was like, this is Mark Schaefer. So you just helped me relax. And thank you so much. Yeah, I truly appreciate. Yeah. And as I mentioned, I really love Mark's content and I read his blogs all the time. I also love his book, Known. I'm going to give a free giveaway. So if you don't mind sharing this me half frozen, if you don't mind sharing this Facebook Live with your friends, I'm going to choose one winner from those people who share our interview, and I'm going to give you a free copy of Mark's book. You can select whatever book you want to read, and I will give you a free copy of that book. And thank you so much for being here, Shwal, Des, Natasha, and everyone. Thank you so much. I have, Mark, do you want to add anything to my very brief introduction there?
No, let's get in because you called the show The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So I'm thinking, what's the ugly part? Maybe we should start. Maybe we should start with that.
You want to start with that? Okay.
I guess so. You're the leader here. You're the leader.
That is totally fine. And so regarding the ugly part, The recent, there's a New York Times article published recently called The Follower Factory. I don't know if you have a chance to read it, or if anyone in the audience, hey, Jody is here, thank you. If anyone in the audience has a chance to read that article. So basically, the article, The Follower Factory, exposed a kind of a dark side of social media marketing, like people purchasing followers to become popular in the online, in the digital space. And in one of your recent blog posts, you also offered a very compelling explanation why people are doing this. So I guess my question is, do you think this trend will ever go away? And where does humanity fit into the overall picture of social media marketing?
Well, it won't ever entirely go away, because one of the things I've learned from my time in business is that wherever corruption can occur, corruption will occur. And we see this come in waves. I can remember in the summer of 2009, Twitter was becoming very, very popular. And Twitter was so overwhelmed with spam and fake accounts and pornographers, it almost killed the platform. So Twitter had to invest in all this money to clean it up, figure it out. And look, they're still figuring it out. So is Facebook. All the platforms are. We're getting fake news and fake followers to the point where it's really threatening democracy. Now, specifically in the influence world, here's kind of just the rule I've followed for my life on the web. That, you look at how would you live your life in the real world with your real friends, and just follow that path. No, don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Don't worry about the tricks. Don't worry about, SEO and backlinks and all this stuff, because in the end, the most human company will win. The most human person will win. And I mean, when I started out in the business, everybody was doing all these backlink stuff and all these black hat SEO tricks. And I just looked at that and I thought, there's no way Google will let that work. Google cannot let the bad people win. And so, sure enough, year after year, they improve, and they're rewarding original authorship, quality content. They're looking for signals that really reflect quality and authority. And I think that's the way it's going to end up with influence today, too. Today, we're in like the black hat days of influence marketing. Will it always, will it go away completely? No. There's still people who do lousy tricks on SEO. There's still going to be people that do lousy tricks with influence, but it's getting better. And someday we'll have a button you can push and it'll give you a very good algorithm of, what a person is like and what their real authority is on the web. It's not there yet, may not be there for a while, but today we need to build our presence and build our authority as if that button exists. That means don't play the games. Don't buy fake followers that are meaningless anyway. Act on the web like you would act in the real world. Act with generosity, with kindness. Stay centered. Don't be influenced by the bad stuff going on, and you'll win.
That is such a great response, and I'm losing you just a little bit. So I think I captured most of what you said. And how about for people, like many people join my show are either educators or small business owners. How about those people? How do you think they can still become, to gain their social proof and to become known in the digital space without committing to anything that is unethical for those people who are on a smaller budget, like small business owners?
Well, I think the most wonderful thing that we have in our world today is this opportunity to be heard, to be recognized, to be acknowledged. When I was a young man in business many, many years ago, how would I be known in the world? How would you and I ever be having this conversation? How would you have heard of me? I'd have to be in the newspaper. I'd have to be on television and somehow reach you in Korea, right? But today,
Yes.
every person, me and you and everybody listening today, has the opportunity to create their own power. We don't have to wait to be published in a newspaper or on television. That's someone else's decision. We don't have to wait to be picked. We can pick ourselves. Small business owners, entrepreneurs, people who just want to, create a personal brand in the world, and anybody that has a device, a smartphone, and an internet connection can create content, can do a Facebook Live like you're doing today, write a blog, do a video, do a podcast, create an infographic. And so the big challenge for most people is just starting, is having the confidence to start. So I think, you need to start, you need to be consistent. And like I said, just treat people online like you would treat them offline.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. For the same online and offline. I think that's why so many people love you, Mark. And also I love on your website, you have marketing strategy and humanity. And that the part humanity really attracts me to your website. And I hope there will be more marketers like you, who still believe in the power of humanity and talks about it and stress the importance of it.
Well, there will be more marketers like me, because that's what's going to win in the end. If you there were people, you mentioned the article in the New York Times. That article, it named names. I mean, how embarrassing. It's people that I know, are being called out. And the article just said what most of us already know, is that most of the people on these lists have bought their followers. Most of the people on these influence lists have, they haven't built their, I've written 6 books.
Yes.
I speak all around the world. I've blogged twice a week, every week for 10 years, almost 10 years without stopping, right? I've got a podcast that I've had for 5 years. So I've had all this content and all this engagement, and I've got 170,000 followers on Twitter, let's say. When you see somebody that doesn't do all that stuff and they've got 700,000 followers on Twitter, something's wrong. That does not come organically without a lot of work. So, and you look at the followers that people have on Instagram or Twitter, some of YouTube, they're going to be found out. Then they're going to be embarrassed, and they're going to they'll be forced to become a marketer that works in a human way, or they won't make it. So it's the way to go.
Yeah, that's a great response, and I'm always so impressed by the amazing content that you produce. And before I ask you another question, just want to give a shout out to more people who are joining us. Judy's here, Timmy is here, Lucille is here, and Natasha, and Irene is here, and Alberto is here. If you can also type in the comments where you are joining us from, that would be great. Mark, I have a really global audience, people are from in different countries and all over the globe, and I really love that.
Oh, good. I hope we get to hear some of their questions.
Yes, so if you guys have questions, please make sure you type in the comments, and we are going to ask Mark. Especially I'm having some internet connection issues. I can't hear him that clearly and that well, so I really want to like Taylor get some questions from the audience. Yes, and also I mentioned earlier, I'm going to give a free giveaway. So if you are going to if you can share our interview with your friends on Facebook or other social media channels, I'm going to select one winner and give you a copy of your personal choice of Mark's book to you. So you mentioned about blogging, and you have 2,000 blog posts, Mark, more than that. Congratulations. And as you mentioned, you have been blogging for 10 years. I really love reading your blog posts. It is my daily habit. I think the content you share in your blog has made me a better educator and a better social media practitioner. So thank you so much. And one of my favorite lines from you is that we create content, but content also creates us. So my question for you is, can you please share with us the top 3 ways that the content that you have created has also created you?
Well, I don't know if I have 3 ways, but I'll try. You know, one of the things I emphasize to people when they're creating content is that they just have to start. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to know exactly where they're going to be in the world or what their niche is, because often you don't find that out until you start. And you start to get feedback from your readers. So, for example, after I wrote my 3rd or 4th book, I think, I had a comment from a reader. There was a review on Amazon that said, Mark is the master of small, helpful marketing books. I thought, I never really thought about it that way before. But, that's part of my brand, I guess. That's part of my identity. So that would be an example of how, I create content, but the feedback from the readers changes me. I'm evolving. The theme of my blog, what I write about, it's different this year than it was last year. It's going to be different next year than it is today. I don't know how, but I'm evolving as I get feedback from the content. And, sometimes you'll write a post and you'll think, oh, well, this post, it's not my best, but, I believe in it. And all of a sudden, boom, it goes crazy and it blows up. And you think, well, maybe I'll do more of that. People seem to like it. So that's how content really has kind of, created that, part of my business. The other thing that I think is really kind of magical about the world that we live in is that, well, I'll give you an example. There was the chief marketing officer for General Electric Health Sciences, GE Health Sciences, started reading my blog in 2013. I didn't know he was there. Didn't know he was reading, because I have lots and lots of readers. And then in the middle of 2015, he sent me a note. He had just read my book. He found my book from my blog. He read my book. He said, this is one of the best business books I've read in the last 10 years. Now, he had been reading my blog for 2.5 years before I ever heard from him, before I knew he was there. And then last year, he hired me to do a workshop for GE. So that was like 4 years. So, but through my content, I was able to create this emotional connection. He felt that he knew me. He felt that he trusted me, even though I had never been on the phone with the man, never had a Skype, never met him. And he hired me to do this workshop based on my content. I think that's just absolutely a magical opportunity that we have today.
That's great. Yeah, we have you have so many lovers, super fans in the audience, Mark.
I have so many lovers. That could be taken the wrong way. Nobody tweet that. Nobody tweet that. Twitter down. Twitter down.
Deb is here so much, and Jody, and it's on her reading list. And I love Mark's book, Known, and I also book review for the book Known, and shared and recommended. If you are an educator, join us in the audience. I highly recommend that you adopt Mark's book as a textbook for your social media marketing class.
Yeah, that's really been surprising to me that it's already being adopted at a lot of universities. As you know, after this, I'm doing a guest lecture via Skype at Northwestern University.
Oh wow!
They're using Known at Northwestern Business School. It's one of the top business schools in the country. Next week, I'm doing a lecture at the University of Louisville that are using Known and the content code in their class. So
that's awesome.
I mean, that is really one of the most amazing, rewards that you could get. It's like blows my mind that something I wrote is being used in a college class. So it's just amazing.
Oh, congratulations. I know I'm going to adopt this as the textbook for my social media class in the fall semester. It's such a great book. So here's a question from Jody, and who is another super fan of your content and everything you do, Mark. And her question is like the power of video in terms of getting to know people versus through like text or written message.
Well, generally, I would say yes. And because video is so powerful because you see a face, you hear a voice, maybe you can even see their environment. So video is very, very powerful, but it's not for everybody. It's not, for example, here's a great example. I was talking to one of my friends, and he said, each morning I sit down at the breakfast table and my son and I are interested in the same sports teams. I'll be reading it online and reading about the game last night. My son only watches videos. So people learn different ways. People learn by doing, hearing, reading, seeing. So the people who enjoy video, they're going to consume a lot of video, but some people prefer other things. I don't do a lot of video. I'm kind of an introvert by nature. I have a hard time taking my smartphone and saying, "Hey, it's me. That's not natural for me. I'm more of an introvert. I'm more cerebral. So I like blogging. Blogging brings me joy more than video. So I'm going to be better at blogging than video. So to answer your question, in general, yes, I think video is very, very powerful to demonstrate, who you are. But it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody in your audience. And that's okay. So do what brings you joy. That's the most important thing. Don't do what people tell you should do. Don't do what you think you should do because somebody else is doing it. Don't do that pressure. Do what brings you joy, because if you're not having joy with what you do, your audience will be able to tell. And that's when you're done.
Oh, this is such a great comment, Mark. I wish I heard this earlier, or at least during the beginning of my social media journey, because I think I listened to so many expert and gurus' advice. I was trying to be all over the place, and my personal brand really suffered until I read your book, seriously, and that really put me onto the right track of being more selective, really understand my why and picking up a sustainable interest, and now just follow my random passions here and there. So that is such a great point.
Oh, that makes me feel great. And I've gotten so much great feedback from that book that people were struggling. And I'll tell you something, I did a lot of research on that book. And I am 100% certain that is the path. It really is. Not only is it the path that was demonstrated from my research, but it's absolutely helping people today. I get comments every single week saying, oh my gosh, this changed my life. This changed my business. I've seen so much more benefits now. Just they're saying the same things that you're saying to me. You just get focused and you know what to do. And that has helped so many people. Yeah.
Yes, this is great. This is gold. And this is really gold, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And again, if you have any questions, please share in the comment section. And if you just join us, please share our interview with your friends on social channels. And speaking of becoming known in the digital space, I have one question. Because before our live show today, I was asking people to share some of their questions on Facebook. So one question people asked is, what is something like some points about becoming known in the online space or in the digital space that most people don't understand but should?
What I'm finding out right now is most people are struggling with the first part. As you know, it's kind of like a 4-step process. Everybody, I interviewed nearly 100 people for the book in all different fields all over the world. And everybody did the same 4 things without exception. And since the book came out, actually, it's almost exactly a year ago, the book came out. Many people have, I've had discussions with lots of people, and it always follows that pattern. There's just no exception. So that's why I'm sure this is how you need to focus to get the job done. What many people are asking me about is the first step, which is really identifying your sustainable interest. I know you and I had some talks about that online. We exchanged some messages about that. And you don't have to get it, exactly right. You just need to start and give it a try and see how it goes. But most of the problems are people are choosing something where there's not enough people out there that care.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to work and work and work and work and work. And if the audience isn't big enough to help you achieve your goals, it's going to be difficult. So here's an example. There was a guy, he has this hobby. I won't name the hobby because it's so specific. You could probably find out who it is pretty easily. But so this guy, he left his job, and he's been trying to do this. He's been trying to create a career out of this hobby for 2 years. And then he got my book. Mm-hmm. And he said, I think I know what's wrong. I have a passion about this, but I can't turn this into a business because the audience is just too small. Now, there are lots of reasons to be known. Maybe you want to be known just for fun. Maybe you want to be known because you care about something. Maybe you want to be known because you want to get a better job, or you want to attract more money for a charity. Those are all valid reasons. But if you want to become known to eventually monetize that, there's got to be an audience on the other end big enough to care about you to make it work. So that's the biggest mistake that people are making. One lady, she said, well, my idea about my sustainable interest is I think people ought to be more organized in their business. I'm not sure if that's a sustainable interest or a blog post. This has got to be something that you're going to be working on, creating content on, for a couple years. So there's got to be enough there that you can make it into a business. That's the thing that people are struggling with most.
Yeah. I remember when I was reading your book, you mentioned that how when people give advice on following your path, it's not always the right direction that you should pursue. And when I read that, I was like, oh wow, what? Wait a second. But everything you mentioned makes total sense, Mark. Thank you. And here we have another question from Lucille. Thank you so much for being here. And she was asking you about the latest Facebook announcement by Mark and what strategies do you have for small businesses?
Well, I wrote a blog post about this. I guess perhaps it was the day after Zuckerberg, made this announcement, and a lot of people were really upset, and there was a lot of hype around it. But here is the truth: nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. If you look at the statistics, in 2017, the average organic reach for a business page on Facebook was less than 1%. It was like 0.5%. So that means all these followers that you have for your business page, nobody's seeing it anyway. Now, I had a graph in the blog post, and maybe you could put a link or something somewhere to the post. I think I wrote it like 2 weeks ago. And so like in 2011, organic reach was close to 30%. So if you posted something, you could reliably count on, no matter what your business is, 30% of your followers would actually see it, which is, pretty good. Today, but year by year by year by year, it's gone down. Why? Facebook is not punishing us. Facebook is not after us. They're not hurting us. Facebook is just running a business. And what's happened is there's too much stuff. An average person on Facebook can see, on average, 2,000 stories a day because there's so many businesses putting stuff on Facebook. It's too much.
Oh, my God.
It's too much. So actually, all this started, I think it was 2013 or 2014. Zuckerberg said, literally made an announcement. We are cutting back on businesses. It's the same announcement that he made 2 weeks ago. Because there's just too much stuff. Mm-hmm. They're cutting back on news. They're cutting back on corporate content, on business pages. So you have two choices. First, let me back up. Here's the business case for Facebook in one sentence. Come waste time with me. So you have to think, why would anybody in Facebook want to waste time with you and your business? If you're Disney or Nike or a movie studio, the answer is everybody wants to waste time with you because you're cool. But if you're the local pizza place, maybe not. So you have to think about, are we conversational or could we be? Could we create content that's so interesting and engaging that people will go crazy over it and share it, and it'll make people see it? Or the second option is we pay Facebook money. Mm-hmm. And it's not because they're hurting us. It's because they're so darn popular that they can. And we've done it to ourselves because everybody's putting content onto Facebook. So my recommendation for small businesses is take a deep breath, look at where you were. My prediction is, if you look at what's happening today versus what was happening a month ago, you probably haven't seen much change. And my prediction would also be, if you really look at the numbers, people weren't seeing your stuff last month either. Mm-hmm. So there's some very key books and key items in my book, Known, that will help you with this. And also the content code. This is what the content code is all about. Mm-hmm. How to get your content seen in a noisy world. And the key idea is you have to figure out, where are your customers, where are your competitors, and how can you find a place to maneuver to get that content to move. The economic value of content that is not seen and shared is zero. Zero. So if no one's seeing your Facebook page, you're wasting your money no matter what Zuckerberg does. You've got to find a way to get people to see that content, to share that content. The economic driver of social media and content marketing is social sharing. Social sharing is advocacy. It's the most powerful thing someone can do to help you share your content. Because they're saying, when they share your content, they're saying, I believe in this, and I want you to believe in this too. It's a very intimate choice to share someone's content. It becomes part of your brand. Social sharing is the most important marketing metric today, other than maybe, conversions.
Wow, that is gold, Mark. I just love your content even more now. This is like really amazing. I think that's why you truly stand out, because you really care, I agree. And speaking of social sharing, I appreciate everyone in the audience who has been sharing our interview. Thank you so much. And this is great. And we have another question, which I missed earlier when you were talking about blogging. And this question is from Tim. Thank you so much for being here. He was asking you, what advice would you give to your younger self in terms of blogging?
Well, first I just want to say how much I appreciate Tim. I assume he's in the UK, and so this is very late for him. So I appreciate. I mean, if I want to tell everybody, first of all, I appreciate so much you spending time with me and I tonight. I never take that for granted. You are giving us such a precious gift, and it means so much to me, especially someone, I know we have people from Greece, from the UK, all over the world. And,
I have someone from Slovenia. It's also late, and from Greece, I think it's like 11 p.m. for them. So thank you.
Well, I'm coming to Greece this summer. My first time. I'm so excited. I'm coming to Greece. So here's the biggest mistake I made, Tim, when I started out as a blogger. I had a great career in marketing, and now I'm doing this blog. I'm thinking, okay, I need to create content, targeted content for my personas. I need to think about what are the messages that my target audience needs to hear this week. So that's what I did. And I created this content, and it was not bad content. It was pretty good content, but it was just corporate. So two things happened. The first thing is that nothing happened. I had no readers. I had no engagement. I had no comments. It was a disaster. The second thing that happened is I got bored. I got bored creating content for some fake person. So then I sort of relaxed, and I decided I'm going to just have some fun. If I feel upset about something, I'm going to write about it. If I feel happy or inspired by something, I'm going to write about that. That changed everything, because instead of me finding my target audience found me, and it was the whole world. It wasn't who I was writing to at all. So people, I've got a group of people that appreciate my quirkiness, my humor. They appreciate me when I'm right. They appreciate me when I'm wrong. And they stick with me because they found me. And I think, I used the term, earlier, love, that, so many people love me. I think people do love me, and I love them. I've made amazing friendships over social media, but it's because I had the courage to add my story to the content. That is the key. How do you stand out today? You have to be original. To be original, you have to add your story. You have no choice. You have no competition. There's only one you. Whether you're young or you're old, there's only one you. that has had your education, your experiences, your journey through life. You just have to have the courage to add that story to your content, and that changes everything.
Oh, I just love that. Thank you. Thank you. And just this comment from my dear friend Antonio. He said that it is 12:41 a.m. in Greece. Oh my God.
God bless you, sir. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think also I saw a question from Suzanne. She was asking, I'm trying to find, there's so many comments coming. Everyone, thank you so much. Please bear with me. I'm having a hard time catching up on all the comments. I think Suzanne asked you a question. What advice you can give someone if this person is afraid of blogging, is afraid to share her ideas with the public? Oh, yes, here it is. And Suzanne is from Scotland. So thank you.
Hi, Suzanne. Well, there's you don't have to blog. I mean, I've been mentoring a young woman. I'll give a little plug for her because I'm so proud of her. She has a podcast called The She Suite. And so I've been coaching her and mentoring her. And she's 2 years out of college. And she's kind of introverted. And she said, what can I possibly say to the world? I'm 24 years old. And so we started talking, and she said, I'm working in marketing in a male-dominated industry. And I'm really struggling with that because nobody taught me what to do in college. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And I said, and she said, I love talking to people and asking them questions about this. I said, why don't you start a podcast? You don't have to have all the answers to create content. You just have to have the questions. Many of my blog posts, I don't have the answers. I just ask a question. So what's going on here? I don't understand what's going on with this. So she started this podcast and she's killing it. And she's interviewing women in male-dominated industries to learn. I said, just take people along on your journey. So there's something for everyone. And, on a podcast, you don't get a lot of comments. You don't get a lot of engagement. You can kind of control who you talk to and what questions you ask. People are generally very kind and very helpful. So there's a place for everybody, even if you're shy.
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Exactly. And I didn't start just going live on Facebook. I started my journey with being on Snapchat with only just like 1 or 2 friends. And slowly I become more comfortable with going public. So I think, as Mark mentioned, everyone has their space. Find out whatever works for you and just take baby steps, and slowly but surely you are going to make progress. That's also kind of my take on this. And I saw someone having a question regarding some for college students. I'm trying to find her question, but this is also one of my questions, Mark. So you are a distinguished educator and practitioner. You teach social media marketing and digital marketing at Rutgers University. So I wonder, what is your top piece of advice for students who are learning social media marketing? And what is your top piece of advice for educators who are teaching social marketing?
The biggest issue today is that social media marketing is not about social media. It's about marketing. It doesn't start with content. It doesn't start with posting on Facebook or starting a Snapchat account. It starts with data. It starts with research. If you just start posting content because now you're a community manager someplace, you're wasting money. You're just creating random acts of content without a strategy. So you have to start with, what's the business strategy? What's the marketing strategy? How does social media support the marketing strategy? Then you have to look at research. where are our customers? Where are they going? How are they getting their information today? Everybody starts with Facebook. As we talked about earlier, the organic reach on Facebook is less than 0.5%. That may be the worst place to go. Mm-hmm. So you've got to do the research and have a real plan. So I think, social media marketing is about marketing. Social media is just one part of that. You need to have a good appreciation for analytics. You have to be able to understand what the analytics are telling you. You need to be able to assess changes in our business quickly and adapt and adopt. Here's the biggest problem I'm seeing in business today is that businesses are running their social media marketing based on something that worked 2 years ago. Because, they read this blog post 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and that's the way we did it. So that's look, if it worked 2 years ago, there's a very small probability that it still works today. You've got to constantly be assessing, evaluating, and thinking about how do I adjust, how do I adapt, how do I adopt, what are these new tools? Should I use them or not? That's a big part of marketing today.
That's great. I think I lost a little bit of you, Mark, but it seems like you finished talking. Great. Sorry, my internet connection is not the greatest today. I have no idea. Maybe we just have too much fire and we are breaking the internet. I had no idea. This never happened.
That's true. That's probably the case. It's like I'm like the Kim Kardashian of social media. Yeah, I'm breaking the internet.
I think someone actually said that in the comment section. Yeah, it's great. We are just quickly wrapping up here, and it's almost an hour. I know it is so late for so many of you joining us live. And if you have a last minute question, please in the comment section. I will select a few and ask. If not, I have kind of my last minute question. So what is one project, Mark, that you are super fired up right now, and how can we help you in terms of spreading the word and sharing or promoting? Like, what can we do for you?
Well, I mean, as far as, my work life right now, I can't really talk too much about what I do because, I've got non-disclosure agreements with my clients, but my business is kind of unusual right now because basically all my time is kind of booked up for the next few years as it looks like. I am thinking about working on a new book that really is going to be kind of like the next evolution of Known, and diving deeper into how lost we are as marketers. I just feel like we've lost our humanity. We've lost our soul. We've turned over marketing to SEO analysts and IT people doing A/B testing, and we've just lost our way. Marketing is sick. It's sick right now, and we need to recapture that. People don't trust marketing. They don't trust marketers, and we've done it to ourselves. And I think marketing is the greatest business profession. It's the most fun profession. We're just doing things that make people mad. I wrote in a recent blog post that we have all this amazing technology. In the medical field, we're extending human life. In the world of physics, we're looking at the origins of the universe. And the greatest use of technology in marketing today is to find more ways to annoy people, through pop-up ads and blah, 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 blah. And we're not using technology to take down those barriers and connect in a human way. And that's what we should be doing. So that's the big thing that I'm going to be working on in the next year.
That's great. I can't wait to read another book from you, Mark. You are just like redefines productivity. You are just amazing. I'm just laughing at this comment from Tim. You work for the CIA. We should tweet that.
No, that's another one that we should not tweet.
I'm just kidding.
It's going to attract the wrong people.
And yes, communication skills, Kim, you are absolutely right. And thank you so much for joining us. She was on her road trip, and thank you for stopping and joining us live. So finally, parting piece of advice, Mark. And where can people find more about you? I already shared the link to subscribe to Mark's blog earlier in the comment section. I'm going to repost the link and link to his website. And if you can share with us one parting piece of advice, Mark, and that will be greatly appreciated.
Well, I'll end our talk today the way I end all of my classes and most of my speeches. About 2011, I got to interview a great academic, a great author who I admire a lot, Dr. Robert Cialdini, and he's the foremost expert in the world about creating power and influence in the workplace. And I said, Dr. Cialdini, in this very, very busy world, in this noisy world, what do we do to stand out today? And this is what he told me in 2011. He said 3 words, and I think the more I'm in this business, the more I know he's right and the more profound his advice was. He said, be more human. That's the killer app. No matter what they do to us in terms of what's the next Facebook or what's the next this, doesn't matter. You just have to look at everything you do, every interaction, every engagement, every piece of content, and put it through that filter. How can we make this more human? How can we show our faces, show our smiles, show our humanity? Because in the end, the most human company will win. And you can find me at Businesses Grow. You can find my blog, my books, my podcast, businessesgrow.com.
Wow, this is absolutely gold. I wish people could see my face. My face is lightened up with joy and excitement and appreciation. Thank you so much, Mark. This is truly amazing. And I'm so sorry about the technical issues, but I learned so much. And everyone, thank you from all over the different countries. Thank you so much for joining us live. And if you enjoy the show today, please give it a share and give my page a like or a follow. That will be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much, everyone. I wish I could hug you all in person, but now just a virtual hug. You probably couldn't even see. And thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. See you next week.